Welcome to the garden. Today I'm going to be spreading plants from around here to other parts of the garden that are a little more bare. It's really easy to multiply the plants that you have, and today we're going to be doing 3 different methods. The first one I like to do is divide. So if we look at this hosta, it's not just one plant, it's actually a cluster of plants. We can split them up into several different plants, all the way down to individual leaves in many cases. But it's usually better to do little clusters, so we could probably get 2 or 3 out of this one plant, which means we could leave one of those clusters here, and then have 2 more to fill in other spots. The next method is transplanting. A lot of times plants will spread by roots or by seed, and drop in areas that you don't really want them. This is a little too close to our walking stones. So I'm going to be transplanting all of these, and then we can move them to a little bit better locations. Also have things like these bleeding hearts, and these are right on the trail, so they've really got to move. But these just sowed by themselves from seed, I imagine. Which brings us to our third propagation method. Sprouting your own plants from seed is one of the most effective ways to spread your plants. You want to wait till the seeds fully mature on the plant and actually dry to the point where they're just about to fall off on their own. So these need a little bit more time, but the bleeding hearts have already dropped their seed. I would just collect the pods, and usually it's a little tricky to separate all the chaff by hand. So what I like to do is actually just crumple them up and then plant them, flowers and all. That's one of my favorite ways to grow chives. You just take the spent flowers, crumple them up, and then all these little black seeds can be sown out in the garden or planted out in a greenhouse next spring. Lavender really can't be divided very easily, and I don't have any that I need to transplant because it doesn't really self-sow that aggressively. But what we can do is collect these flowers and then just tease them apart and plant them out. So once we get a good handful, let's see if we can break apart those flowers, open up those seeds. There, and all those little black dots, those are our seeds. If you're going to direct sow, it's usually a good idea to kind of prep the soil a bit, especially with small herb seeds and things like these lavender. The seeds are so tiny that you really can't bury them. You just want to press them into the soil. So we'll flatten off a nice spot, and I just like to spread the flowers on like that. I don't bother filtering them out, and then just a light tease of that soil just to get them below the surface. You don't want them too deep. If you want to be really cautious, you can sprinkle them on and then just dust them with a little bit of extra soil. probably best to wait till after they flower, but I want to get in here right now and divide these up. This plant is really overgrown, so it could actually benefit from being split up. Now from here, I like to try and find natural divides. So just rotate it around a bit. Here I can see one that we could probably pull apart. I'm going to peel off a couple more natural chunks, and then I'll show you how to cleanly divide them with your shovel. So just pull and release to get those leaves to untangle. And now we've got a pretty solid clump. So we could just pick a spot here and then just take a nice clean cut. And really there's not much damage. Let me show you. We've got a little scrape here and a few severed roots there, but that's not too bad. This is going to be a really healthy cluster. So if you're having trouble finding natural divides, you can always just use your shovel. I'm not going to replace just one. I'm actually going to space them out and do 2 little clumps to fill in. That'll just help it spread a little bit quicker. It won't look quite so empty. So we'll do like one over here and one over here, and then let's count how many we've got extra. So we've already got 2, so that's 3, 4, and this one could split again, 5, and I'll split it again too for fun, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 plants. That's incredible. And these are really nice little plants. They're not too thin at all. And you could always go down further, all the way down to one little cluster, like this. That's just going to take a long time to fill back in. So I usually use larger clusters like that. So let's go plant these out. Now I'm just going to go through the garden and start filling little gaps. There's a little spot here we could squeeze one in. And this part goes pretty quickly. As long as your soil's nice and soft. It should be pretty easy. And look at how nice that fills in. I'll do another one over here. If it looks a little thin, go ahead and use 2 clusters. Or if it's too thick, split it up again. And we'll just do this throughout the entire garden here. So by dividing just one of our hostas, we got about a dozen or so plants. Can you imagine if we divided all of these? But here's the 2 that replaced that one large clump. I think they look really nice, and they'll fill back in over time. So we're really just multiplying the plants that we already have to spread this garden and expand it, make it look really nice, and kind of carry it on into the backwoods here. Here we have ferns and hostas and those same white leaf plants. So we're just kind of having a really nice natural flow to the back garden. So I hope you use these 3 methods to multiply the plants in your garden. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.